Welcome everyone. So this is our weekly live Q&A call. Um, got 2 days until Thanksgiving. So what I wanted to focus on today was some strategies for Thanksgiving. And there's essentially I'm going to go over kind of two mindsets. There's going to be some micro strategies within each. So if you don't like the first mindset, stick around for the second. You might be surprised on what I have to say. Um, so, first mindset with Thanksgiving is go in with a plan. And this goes from the start of your day all the way through. I don't always encourage trying to starve yourself completely before the Thanksgiving meal, simply because the control factor at that point becomes more difficult. So leading up to that, if you're focusing on proteins and then high fiber vegetables, just to kind of help satiate a little bit, doesn't have to be a lot, just enough here and there throughout the morning, leading into mealtime. That way we're not coming in completely famished, just because if you're sitting at a table with that much temptation, with that much hunger, control becomes much more difficult. Whereas if you've had enough to kind of stave off that extreme starvation, sit down, you have your plan of I'm going to have this much ham or turkey, this much potatoes, this much stuffing, dressing, whatever your go-to dishes are. Just having a plan of this is how much I'm going to have. That way, relatively close to the amount of calories you're going to have for the day. Pairing that with some like going for a walk or some extra movement, just to give you a little bit more burn to buffer anything extra that comes in. Having the plan, especially if you're trying to stay still adhere and stringent with what your daily calorie goals are, that's going to be the easiest way to get through. Um, if you don't have a plan, but you're still trying to behave, still focusing on your protein and high fiber vegetables through leading up to that, just to help again keep that starvation, that like, oh my God, I'm famished attitude once you from happening before you sit down at the table. And then when you're at the table, still prioritizing your protein. So turkey, ham, whatever the protein dish is. I know it can vary a little bit for people. Um, your high fiber vegetables first, or sorry, second after the protein, and then you can start looking at the other sides that are mostly carbohydrates, more fats, things of that nature. If you focus on loading your plate with the protein and the veggies, that'll manage the portion a little bit on some of the others. Whereas if you go the other way around, it's much more easy to overdo consumption and then be left with very little protein and fiber intake, which was often what gets us in trouble, not just at Thanksgiving, but most of our meals. So a good rule of thought is protein, fibrous vegetable, and then your other dishes, really with any meal that you're trying to make, but especially for Thanksgiving, if you're trying to still behave and maintain some control. Another kind of thought or strategy I often have for people, um, especially when we're looking at like once in a while type foods like this, where there's going to be dishes and things that you have maybe once, twice, three times at most in a given year, so you're really looking forward to it. Um, what's been found, this has both been researched and I've seen it experientially as well. There is a stimulus reduction in repeated exposure. So what I mean by that is, if it's been, you know, some special dish, it's been a year since you've had it, that first bite is going to have the most stimulus. Second one, it's still going to have kind of strong, but it's starting to diminish. Third one, it's still there, but not quite as powerful, and then it just goes down in the intensity and satisfaction factor from there. So one strategy that I recommend for clients It is going kind of like what we call the 3-bite rule, where if it's something that you really, really want and you're concerned about how much you can have, if 3 bites, slow, don't like 1, 2, 3 it and jam it in, but enjoy each bite and then reassess. Do I want more? Do I need more? Slowly doing that helps control our intake, and you may find by bite 4 or 5, the intensity and the newness is kind of worn off. So the urge to just cram it all in is drastically reduced. Little tidbit. Flip side of that, for foods that picky eaters don't want to eat, the 3-bite rule also helps to get them to at least try it, especially with kids. If you just say, hey, you just have to take 3 bites, it helps alleviate some arguments there. And again, because of that diminishing stimulus response, they may find by the 3rd bite, it's not as icky as they thought it was going to be, and they're more inclined to keep eating it. So just a little tidbit there for anyone dealing with picky eaters on any day, let alone holidays. Let's see here. So other strategies with that, making sure you're hydrated, so your stomach's not extra empty. If you have a good cup of water before the meal, that'll help control the portion a little bit there. And again, movement during the day just to help give us some extra expenditure to balance out that consumption. So that's our first thought mindset approach, is the controlled, the planned, trying to behave for Thanksgiving. Second mindset, and this is the one where I think a lot of people might be surprised, so I hope you stuck around. It's just one day. It's just one meal. So don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. Don't sweat and stress it and freak yourself out and get more wound up about, oh, I don't want to do bad. I don't want to do bad. Or, oh, I shouldn't be eating this. I shouldn't be eating this as you're eating it. None of that's good for you. Okay. I would rather someone go in, enjoy it, have a good time, not feel bad about anything that they've eaten, and have fun. But it's that day. What I don't want is that day turning into the entire weekend smorgasbord that can potentially derail us. Okay? And here's my reasoning behind this. If you are consistent with your persistent habits to stay healthy and well balanced the majority of the week, month, year, life, whatever unit of measurement we do, in the grand scheme of things, we're going to come out ahead. Because you can only do so much damage in one day, one weekend, 1 week, even 1 month if we get back on track. It's when we start getting into extended, really prolonged periods of time that can get us in major trouble health-wise. One day, honestly, isn't going to make or break your progress. Especially if you go in, you enjoy it, you have fun, you're not stressing out about, oh, I shouldn't be eating that. Oh, where's the vegetables? I can't find any. This isn't enough protein, or this is too much carbs. Have fun, enjoy yourself, and then we're back on consistent habits again the next day. Okay? One day doesn't ruin us. I don't care how big a day it is. Trust me, you're talking to someone who's been close to 300 pounds at point in time. You can't consume enough in one day to completely wreck your progress if you're back on track the next day. Okay? Don't let the stress and the worry of a holiday ruin your fun. You've been behaving, you've been consistent, there's nothing to feel bad about. We get back on track the next day and continue with our consistent habits going into the next week. Consistent, sustained habits will always trump holiday fun in the grand picture of things. This is what we do for our clients. This is what I do in my life approach. I stay on point 80 to 90% of the time so I can have fun the other 10 to 20%. when the time deems necessary. Holidays, family activities, vacations. Last thing I ever want to do is be stressed about what am I going to eat when it's a holiday? What am I going to eat on a vacation? Where am I going to find food when I'm, on a cruise? Whatever the situation is, a blip on the calendar isn't going to make or break your progress. What does make or break is if you let a holiday dictate new habits going forward. Okay, if you have a piece of pie, you have whatever you want with dinner, you have some fun, then we're back on our consistent habits the next day. One meal, one holiday is not going to make or break us. Stay consistent the rest of the time, and you will still see maintenance, if not progress, over these next 5 to 6 weeks with that approach. It's more fun, it's easier. The key thing is just keeping your sustained habits and then having fun when the opportunity comes up. That's how we create sustainable lifestyles and results that are kept over time. If for whatever reason you're just like, John, I don't even have great habits to begin with, maybe we need to have a conversation. Happy to have a talk with you sometime. Throw it in the comments, DM me. We can have a conversation to start getting you on the right track. That way you don't have to feel bad going into the holiday this weekend, and you'll feel better knowing that you're going to have a plan on the other end of it. Outside of that, I hope everyone can take something away from that. Enjoy the weekend. Have fun this Thanksgiving. But remember to stay consistent in your persistent pursuit of health.